Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this session. Good afternoon, everyone, parents and teachers. You're most welcome. Talking to you is Edith Kawuma, teacher at Horizon. This is yet another enriching session that I believe is not going to leave us the same. I know we will learn a thing or two from this session with Dr. Karungi. With you today is Dr. Charlotte Karungi Mafumbo, who comes to us with a wealth of knowledge and experience. She's quite well-read and well-experienced. She holds a PhD from the University of Capetown, South Africa. She has an MA from Sydney, Australia. She has a BA from Makerere University, that is Uganda. She holds a certificate in gender and conflict studies from Hanover University, that is Germany. Dr. Charlotte also works with SIT Education as a student counselor and an academic director. So she's very well conversant with the topic she's handling today. She's also a global online tutor of students in the United States, Germany, Uganda, and many other places. She's a university lecturer of development, peace and conflict studies, and I guess this pandemic is one of the conflicts that she is well conversant to handle. Her CV is much longer than this and richer. So I would not want to go into a lot of detail for the sake of time. Just a reminder, dear participants, please mute your microphones. And just to remind ourselves of the topic, summarized, supporting students' learning in the COVID-19 era. Dr. Karungi, with her experience, is here to unleash for us ways of how we can support our students in this period. Thank you so much.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. You're very welcome to this presentation. Thank you very much for the very kind introduction. I agree that the CV is long, but I think the opportunity I have this afternoon is the longest. I have a very strong passion for teaching, and I have had an opportunity to teach both young and old. And if I were to have a chance, I think I would love to go back and teach the little ones, the very, very little ones. This afternoon, we're going to talk about a very pertinent issue, and that is COVID-19. In many people's words, we think that we are not going to remain the same after COVID-19. And so because of that, we already are struggling to change our lives. We're already struggling to organize ourselves. We're already struggling to make the lives of others easy. And most importantly, I think both as parents and as teachers, we have an incredible role to play to make sure that our little ones or our students continue in this very, very difficult time. It's very unprecedented. It probably happened so many years when we're not yet born and we don't know what happened, but that what COVID has done is quite different from any other pandemic. I'll start with the slides. They're being shared here. I wish we could be put in the... we're going to be talking about a couple of things, but I'll set the tone here. We'll talk about the families in this COVID-19 era. I would like us to talk about the kind of complex emergencies that we are used to. I'm sure these are things that we already teach the students. We want to talk about what COVID-19 has done so far, and most especially pay attention to the shifts in the pedagogy right now and the experience that people are going to have to go through, the changing roles that we have acquired since COVID-19. If previously we sent children to school things have completely changed. This is one of the complex emergencies that I want us to have a perspective of. Can I have the next slide, please? I think this is something that we have been so used to, seeing landslides, broken bridges, forced migration. Are we together? Can they hear me?
Yes, yes, we can
Okay.
hear now.
So I wanted to say that this is what we are used to. Of recent, Uganda has had the highest share of almost all the complex emergencies. We have desert locusts, mudslides, landslides, and these have led to a lot of displacements. We have heard Ebola, SARS, but ideally we've had a big share of all the possible pandemics that anyone can think about. So to add Corona, I think it's been so problematic. But just before the COVID-19, we lived happy lives. We went to school. We had our classes normally, but we also had our own challenges around that time. Just quickly, I'm sorry about these technical issues. We shall be talking about the current situation. And I was saying that as a result of COVID-19, we have had effects that are so widely spread, not only in Uganda, but all over the world. Schools have been closed. We have disrupted our social settings. Previously, you walk down the road and bought something. That can happen without getting a letter. This morning, I had to go somewhere to a hospital, and I had to go to the RDC to get a letter. So all these social disruptions, all our networks have been so disorganized, all our traditional organizations. And of course, this has had very untold consequences on us. The fact that your life is no longer the way you want it is something that deeply disturbs everyone wherever they are. But particularly, you have to imagine what goes on in the children's minds. I know those of you who are on WhatsApp, sometimes you get these beautiful little sharings where little kids are also saying, you used to refuse us to go outside. Now it's your turn for to go outside. So we are in it together, and so we have to figure out how to change our roles. We have new roles. As parents previously, we were always thinking, yes, I will take the kids to school and they'll study, and things have changed. We are now becoming the super teachers. I just wanted to share a very quick slide here. This is the first thing we got from the teachers when the COVID broke down. They wrote to us and said, all those parents who say they can do a better job than teachers, now it is your time to shine. I don't know if many of you saw that. We thought that this shining was going to be for a very short time. And this is just a 1-minute clip of a parent, just to give you an idea of what exactly it was we're walking into. We knew things differently. The children had been taught differently. So we now have to shift our children to be able to continue the learning. We have had to adopt the online coping strategies to see how best. Fortunately, Horizon has already had embraced online learning, and in its small doses, they already had children or their students who were already on this. But now it is going to be a lifetime preoccupation. Every morning we have to set up for them, we have to teach them, and this comes with its own very interesting challenges as well as its own strength. During COVID-19, our learning is more experiential. It's either synchronous or asynchronous. In an environment where there are many devices, you have computers, you have mobile phones, you have laptops, you have iPads, you have all different types of equipment that we can use as long as we have internet access. However, the role of our teachers and the role of us parents is going to have to shift a little. We have to participate, and we have to be helped to teach the others, to teach our own children. And again, we have to make sure that we support the whole process of the learning. As you can see in the pictures, there's a lot that they are doing, the parents to their babies. The biggest question will be, how do we make sure that the learning is effective? I know that most of you realize that you have children who are extremely internet savvy, extremely advanced in the way they manage. They actually know how to find information more than we do. They even know how to lock our phones or open them and even set the passwords. So if you have that kind of child or children, how are you going to organize them around this learning in a way that is going to be beneficial? I would say that the first thing we have to do is to try as much as possible, in spite of all the financial constraints that we have now, to try and get internet access as well as access to other resources. And I know right now that many schools, and I'm sure Horizon may be one of those, that are working out opportunities with organizations, telecom industries, to make sure that they give us access to information and access to internet that is much more, the bandwidth is good, it's able to be used to learn, and I'm sure that if we do that, it should be the wrong way. We must, as parents, in this new role, we have to monitor progress and also evaluate our online classes. I know that in our case, our teachers have already been prepared, they have all their materials, so you have to be sure that you're monitoring what they're learning, because the chances of distraction are so immense. Even us as adults, when we are using the computer as office work, you end up changing a little bit to check WhatsApp, to do this, to answer a mail, to pick up an email message that has come in. And I think that these are some of the things that we also must be sure that we monitor as parents. We should try as much as possible to limit and put age control on access to some of the content on the internet. The internet is awash with so much information, and it's difficult for the children to know what is right and what is wrong in terms of what they're learning. So many times, I also have a 10-year-old, sometimes when she's given homework and it's very difficult, she'll go and check for the answer. Now, the answer might be correct, but how appropriate is it for a 10-year-old? Those are some of the things that we need to look out for. Secondly, we know that the internet also has some extremely destructive and untraditional knowledge that you don't want our children to get access to. So there is a way that that can be controlled, and I'm sure the school will be able to support you in some of these control measures. The other thing that we may want to pay attention to is how much we allow these children on the screen and how much time we allow them to use the computer. I believe that all of you have probably gone through what I have gone through, that when we went through COVID, as we are and continuing to go through, I find that I work more hours than I do if I were to go to office every day. So that means that the level of concentration is adjusted. And so even for the children, we need to appreciate that they're children and try to control how much time they are on the screen. We need to control how much time they are able to go out and learn other things on their own, allow them some time to exercise, allow some time to play basketball, to play any game. Of course, the assumption here is that you even have a lot of space where this can happen. If we don't, we have to create some space for them to be able to do some of these things. As a teacher, myself, I am such a scheduled person. I have my timetable throughout. I know what I'm supposed to do today, even up to the end of the year. So is that something that parents can also do? Sit down and work with the children through their schedules. So lunchtime, they have a nap, depending, of course, on the age. And when you draw the schedule with them and you make it participatory, these children start to get the responsibility of knowing how to time themselves. Above all, I think we must insist that we keep their reading handbooks if we have them, and keep their reading culture up. We are tending slowly to decrease our reading culture. And I think in Africa, Uganda, we are the last. We need to change that. We need to go back and be the best as we always have been. But that if you don't already have the hard books, try to get some. And please read with them. Don't let them read on their own. The one way that I get my 10-year-old to sleep is I read her a story every night. Before I even finish the story, she's sleeping. So let's try to get the culture. And when you read with them, they enjoy reading, they ask questions, and that way you're not only benefiting them to read, but also that closeness with them. So what are the advantages of online learning? The assumption I'm making is that in all our homes, we are equipped to take on and embrace online learning. And I want to tell you that it has immense advantages. Immense in the sense that it creates some kind of discipline and it improves the level of responsibility. A child who knows that her parents are paying so much money for internet will ensure that they use the time sparingly, they use the internet. The other advantage of online learning or e-learning is that there is a lot of flexibility in the schedule. And this is something that I always cherish about online learning, because sometimes when people are at school, when you go to pick them, they're like, oh, we studied the whole day. We had very little time to play. But now we have the power in our hands to reorganize the schedules in such a way that allows them to be comfortable while they learn. There is increased interaction. You can't imagine how much your children have enjoyed you in this COVID-19. I can't imagine even what it will mean for them to go back to the other routine where they have to be away from you the whole day. Now they're so used, they want to play, they want to smile, they want to joke with you, they want you to learn from them. And I think that it has been such an advantage. You didn't have to pay a lot of money to go for a weekend somewhere to have time with your children. It is right there in the comfort of your home. In fact, if you go strictly even to the subject matter, the content that we teach, there's a proper coverage as you work online, because there is that latitude of how much you can cover, come back if you haven't finished, continue where you stopped. And so the children learn a lot. In fact, what I have noticed in this last period is that if you gave a 10-year-old P5 work, she even can graduate and do P6 work because she's able to apply what she has learned. The other advantage, and I still think that even if you have computers, try to load on the typing skill, the keyboard skills. When I was growing up, I wanted to be a secretary of a minister, so I learned how to type. And because of that, I know the keyboard so fast, I'm able to type so fast. Please don't only teach them how to use the computer for other things, let them learn how to type without looking on the screen, and that will improve their skills. Let them learn how to input diagrams. I know the teachers will be directing all this, but let them also discover for themselves. The other advantage is the self-paced learning. Some of us don't all have children who are quick at learning. Some are a bit slow. That doesn't mean they're disadvantaged in any way, but that's who they are. They just like some more time to learn. This is the time that we should be able to enjoy this bit where kids are able to learn on their own. I've just said that there are so many advantages. Those are just a few. I'm sure that if I ask the parents, and I'll give you time for this, you should be able to list 100 of them. In spite of all this, I know that there are challenges with online learning. There is a tendency to postpone. to procrastinate because it is self-paced. I'll do it tomorrow. I'll finish the homework in the night. I will spend some time. Please try as there's sometimes too much time on the screen, which could very easily lead to back problems. I just talked to the principal a few minutes ago. Since Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, today, I have had to go through physiotherapy because of a severe backache, which I just only got because of COVID-19. Like I said, you end up working the whole day, the whole night, the whole day, because you have all the things you want to finish within this time before the lockdown is lifted. And so back problems are something you should try and make sure there will be exercises, let them take off some time, and even type while standing. That is one solution. That way they are stretching. And also be sure that the light on the computers is enough. So many people have had to get glasses because of the light. This is something that I'm sure the teachers will help us if we already don't know how to control the lighting on the screens, just like even on the phones that you use. You have to be very careful with these babies. You don't want them getting glasses if they can avoid it. The work time, I've already commented, becomes much longer than it should be because you feel like, wow. But that also means it can also lead to less time, less work done. Again, scheduling is the solution. Distractions with other material, I cannot even imagine how much this can be. But you already are aware how much we are distracted with the phones, with WhatsApp, with all the time we are on our phones, you're working and you're checking. So how will you be able to regulate that? It's going to be very, very pertinent. The way I do it is I switch off the internet for some time. And if a gadget has to be used, it is used within a certain framework and a certain time. The other thing that is probably very technical, and we need to agree on a few things in our curriculum as well as what we teach the children at home, is the discrepancies in the terminologies used in school and online. I know that the teachers will be uploading work for us, but that when a student or a child wants to check out something, the language will completely change. Having taught Americans now for 12 years, I have had to learn the hard way. For example, the one time I went and told a student, can you put your suitcase in the boot? And he kept on looking at me. I said, I asked that you could put your suitcase in the boot. And so he was quick to say, oh, do you mean a trunk? You mean my luggage? So for us, it's a suitcase. In America, it's a luggage. In other places, I don't know what it is called. So we have to be careful that the terminologies are different, but this discrepancy can be worked out. If a teacher feels something is not right or does not understand what word, both teacher, of course, and parent and child, let's consult and try. And for every time you find something new, write it down because it will be very helpful. Of course, retooling is very important in multiple ways of doing things. Right now, the computers are awash with so many platforms, Moodle, Google, Zoom, care academies, all types of networks are coming up. Skype, right now in that picture, we were being trained at the university on some other tools and how we can improve our teaching online. So it's not only you parents here today. All of us are in it together. We are struggling to improve ourselves. This was even taken just yesterday, just to give you an idea that it is not only us. I had to evacuate 8 students and within 2 weeks, upload courses for them that they were supposed to study in Uganda. So it is not only us, it's everywhere. And the faster we do it, I think the better. Additionally, we need to encourage each other and we engage each other, and let's also try to learn as many more digital skills as possible. Let's try as much as possible to use open educational resources. I know that as I speak now, my own trainer and instructor in online teaching is right there in the audience with you, Dr. Dorothy Sebowa, who is one of our professors teaching online learning and instruction in the whole university. So she's marking me as I speak now. I don't know what grade she'll give me at the end of the day. But I can say that every time she has taught us, she has insisted, we must be able to be versatile. All these Moodle, wikis, blogs, Skype, Zoom, all these are things we need to acquaint ourselves with, because sometimes one is not working as fast as the other, or others have better advantages. And so when you kind of take an eclectic approach and use the best for everything you do, it becomes much easier. I think this last point is really an appeal. We would like to appeal to the teachers. I'm speaking on two levels. Yes, I'm speaking to you today, but I'm also a lecturer, but I'm also a mommy and a teacher at the same time. I want to encourage us teachers to try and set learning tasks and activities that would actively engage the little ones. Let's try to focus and direct learners on what to do. I know that our teachers are already trained and they know all this, but having gone through some instructions myself, I would be given homework and I go home and I'm like, wow, this is a lot of work. So please, let's be considerate. Let's give tasks that also allow the children to be innovative, to challenge them to think. My 10-year-old has just planted some onions, but that she keeps plucking out to see how they've grown. I don't know whether we shall have any at the end of the day, but just to give you an idea, try to give them learning tasks and activities that are as engaging as possible. And of course, parents, let's do them together. The children in the hall, how many computers do you see in this picture?
2.
Can they hear me? How many computers? You only see 2 computers?
Yeah.
I'm seeing 2.
2, sure? Not 4?
There are 2 computers.
Yes.
2
Or
pictures.
the picture is the same. The pictures are the same,
Yes.
but there are 2 computers. But if we count, like we looking at the picture, we can see 4 computers on the same picture.
Okay. So you can now imagine if you're teaching and you're asking your child how many computers. Some people will say 2 and others will say 4. So teachers need to help us and know, but the answer could actually be 5. Because what about the one you're using? How many are you seeing? So these are the real life situations you're going to be walking into. And the kids will, pardon? Can you say that again? I sorry, I lost you. Or you're using a phone. Good. So that would also be a good way to reason. For a child to say, oh no, there are only 4 because mine is not a computer, mine is a phone. All these are very important ways, and they just give you an example of how difficult it is. It's very exciting, but can also be very, very challenging. But anyhow, this picture was taken from Isinjiro. Those of you who have heard of the Millennium Development Goals, these computers were 2, but they were supposed to be shared not only by these 4 kids, but many, many others. And so I had taken my students there to see the digital divide that exists and how well we think we can improve it. Vulnerabilities, this I don't want to, we've already talked about the challenges we faced so far. Maybe just to re-echo the fact that there are things that have happened to COVID-19 that could very easily or have already easily affected us. Loss of employment, we are uncertain now what to do, loss of social networks. I'm not so sure if there will be no school dropouts by the end of the time, but there is a highly reported prevalence of domestic violence. I don't expect that is happening in any of the people who are here with us today. But if it is something that is happening in your neighborhood, please think about it and what impact it has. Let's prepare ourselves psychosocially and seek help, because all these things have really been so impacting on all of us. Just yesterday, we were receiving instructions, and out of the instructions, we saw lists and some names were not there, and we're told, oh, no, we've followed all these workers. So what is following? What is this? All these things, we will be going through a phase, and I think that we have to work together to make sure that we go through some psychosocial support. It's not for the mentally ill, because that's what sometimes people think, no, me, I'm not sick. We are affected in a certain way, and we need to build our resilience. We need to work together. We need to make sure that we encourage each other, both to teachers and parents, as well as the school. We have to work together in tandem for this online learning to be effective. Of course, there are many coping strategies, but the biggest that I would like to reflect on is, if you really feel that everything is too much taking toll, then we may need some counseling. The school does have some nice, well-qualified counselors, but also I'm sure that there are many others out there, and we can share with the school some of the ones that we use for our university as well as our institutions. Because this is the kind of therapy that you get. Even just sharing with your colleagues, your other parents, if you know each other, what you're going through, it helps a great deal. So we are our own mentors, we are all our own counselors, but that we sometimes cannot counsel ourselves enough. As teachers, we have been trained in psychology and counseling, but that how we do it also varies. So I think at this point, what we need to do is try to make sure as much as possible that we support each other, and if we can't support each other, let's try to seek that help. There's nothing wrong with calling someone and talking to them to see how best they can manage. The other thing that I would like to say is that let's try as much as possible to support all ourselves at all our levels. There is no way we can harness our online learning if we are not in this together. It is an appeal I am making, as not only as a teacher or an instructor or a lecturer, but as a parent, and I'm fortunate also to have a set of twins. I make sure that we have to take off time and teach. So parents, I urge you, you are the best teachers of your children until you make a mistake and tell them 5 + 3 is 9, and they'll never trust you again. But that said, I think we have a significant impact on our children. And so if we work together with parents, I'm sure, or rather with the teachers, I'm sure everything will be okay. I would like to stop here, and then I would like to take some questions. I may not be able to say this, but let me say it first. Chameleon, the singer, has told us to always thank as much and as fastest as we can. So thank you very much, Horizon International, the entire family, students, parents, teachers who are here today to listen to me. I would like to thank my instructor who is in the crowd there. And so if you ask me a question, I'll say, oh, my teacher is here, ask her. She's in the crowd with us. I would like to thank all those who have put this together, the principal, the Edith, I think, is the main coordinator in academics. I'm struggling with these terminologies now that I have so many around. But generally, I think that developing global leaders in the COVID-19 era and the post-COVID-19 era is going to be one of the greatest missions that Horizon International has, and I thank you.
Dr. Seboa, you're most welcome to talk to us.
Okay, that's perfect. I would like to thank you so much for giving this great opportunity to listen to Dr. Cheryl. That was excellent. Thank you so much. And the entire community, the parents, the teachers, and everyone else who is available. Thank you very, very much. It's really very exciting to think about engaging our learners, especially in this COVID era. and thinking about how best we make the learning exciting to them. I know that I think Dr. Charlotte has talked about playing and all these kinds of things that they can do, but also to make it exciting for them to learn. And I think what I could re-emphasize is to engage parents and teachers as well. I think sometimes when teachers think about e-learning, they just think that they will give maybe activities to students and leave them by themselves. But I think it should be an initiative of both the student, the teacher, and the parent. At this point, when the learners are at home, I think it would be great for the parents as well to engage and to guide the learning process. As you know, that sometimes one of my friends told me last time that their children are watching other things apart from what is expected of them to learn. So I think it's important for us as parents and teachers to guide the learning process during this time, and also to engage them, give them more of activities, actually, not tasks, but activities, I think, make a lot of learning. Otherwise, thank you so much for this great opportunity, and I wish you all the best through this era. Thank you, Dr. Charlotte. It's really excellent that you're engaging parents, teachers in this COVID era. Thank you so much.